Today, I finally caught up with one of my most awaited films of 2025 and a film that I'm so glad to have finally seen. The Black Phone 2 by Scott Derrickson, who is underrated as a contemporary horror director, having made Sinister, which I think is really underrated, and the first Black Phone film, which is also excellent. This film picks up with the same characters 4 years after the first film is set, and it follows them as they grapple with PTSD from the events of the first film at a time when their dreams and their psychic abilities begin to point them towards unraveling a mystery involving their family history and Ethan Hawke's terrifying villain, the Grabber, who returns here in the afterlife in dreams, much like Freddy Krueger of A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a film where Scott Derrickson is pulling together a huge number of different influences, from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining to A Nightmare on Elm Street to Coraline at times, which surprised me. At the same time, dousing all of these influences in a style that is very much his own and which really stands out because of that. Compared to the seriousness of the first film, this one is more hammy, more over the top, with some really striking gore effects that I really enjoyed, as well as an aesthetic that is unique and chilling. For one thing, setting it in a snowy area is really distinctive. It looks fantastic, and the visuals take their time to build towards that aesthetic in a way that's really pleasing. And of course, just like the first film, there is the use of Super 8 sequences, which are really grainy and grim, really disturbing. And those sequences are accompanied by a stomach-churningly disturbing score by Alistair Derrickson, which I think is one of the film's most important elements in terms of communicating its terror. What pleasantly surprised me here as well was the dramatic elements of the film, which are surprisingly well done, particularly thanks to the leading performances from Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw, who they're very young actors, but they really pull off some great dramatic work here that complements the horror. It's a shame then that the film is slightly overlong, that its writing can be at times quite clunky, and that the addition of some supporting characters who don't feel very important also distracts from the very core of the film, which is powerful, which is impactful, and which is surprisingly emotional. But overall, I did have a very good time with The Black Phone 2. I think Ethan Hawke is great in it. I think the two main actors are great in it. I think that the move away from the seriousness of the first film actually makes this one better and makes it stand out as a sequel. And above all else, I think that the snowy aesthetic and the use of Super 8 film especially makes this a really effective horror film.